Welcome to the Nail Engineer, and today we've got this super duper bright mani that is so bright that the camera won't even focus on it, inspired by the wonderful Esmaltes, if that's how you say it. She's on Instagram, and she is part of a salon in Portland, Oregon in the US called Finger Bang. So straight off the bat, I gotta love it for that name. And she does these awesome, like, kind of effects. I was a little bit gutted, actually. As we go along, you'll see what I'm talking about here when I talk about hairspray marbling. But yeah, I was so gutted that this Esmaltes da Kelly in Icaro will not work with this technique. It's just too thick. So I had to go instead for another polish, Hipopo. Now, I'm guessing that if you used like a regular nail polish that's just really heavily pigmented, like maybe an indie polish, you might be able to get it to work. Maybe stamping polish isn't ideal, but I wanted to use stamping polish because this is a hack. And for this, you need a whole bunch of stuff. The stuff that you'll need, you could tackle this a number of ways. I just basically saw like a pink to purple ombre on that Esmaltes mani, and I thought, oh, that's gorgeous, that is. And I knew straight away that it would be a perfect opportunity to finally get OMG Pink on my fingers again. However, if you have the full Magpie neon pigment collection, you could just go on with a white base and then use Joy, which is the bright pink one. So there's Joy, and you can see they're like real similar. Maybe OMG Pink has got like a little touch more coral about it. So anywho, and why does my light keep doing this? Oh, it's my stupid phone. My stupid phone has this like smart kind of light detector in it or something, and it keeps changing what light there is, and it doesn't matter what lights I use when I'm videoing it, it just goes, oh, it looks too light, let's make it romantic. I think that my phone wants to get off with me or something, because it's always turning the lights down. And basically all I'm doing is I'm using Fleur. I don't know if it was meant to be Fleur, whatever. I'm just pressing that into the tips, and I've got a tip-top tip for you tips coming up, so stay tuned for that. That is your base, and then that gets kind of top coated and sealed in, and then we do some water marbling, which basically is just like normal water marbling. Little twist on it is though that you use hairspray once you've deposited on the surface, and you spray it on, and it kind of makes the polish break up into these random patterns. And so you're thinking, like, why is this a hack? Well, I love the randomness of the patterns, and this nail have both been done by this technique, and I got them in one go as well by doing my rock fingers and then popping them into the lovely pattern that I'd made. However, ooh, look at these nails. Aren't they quite similar? But did you do them a different way? Hell yeah! I did them with this stamping plate, which is really super cool, which I actually saw an Aussie tech using, and I will flash up her details in the box or whatever. And I saw this and I thought, oh, OMG, wouldn't this be great for doing hairspray marbling without all of the mess? And so actually what I've got on my thumb and my ring finger is this image, just different parts of it. And then on my middle finger, I've got this one, which would also be super duper good for doing like marble nails and stuff. That's all I'm doing, and that's why I wanted to use the stamping polish. So this hand is all ready to go and get painted up. On this thumb, I've already done it because I tend to do my thumbs together because they're awkward, aren't they? Anyway, so I'm gonna paint these up, and I'll show you the first one because I need to give you like a little tip. If you are a Madam Glam fam and you are doing this look with this polish, you can actually be real generous with it. Now, I know that I said on my video, my swatch video of this polish, that it was a bit pissy and a bit wishy-washy. But I've subsequently found out that you don't have to do 4 thin, super thin coats. You can actually load it up like that quite generously. It doesn't wrinkle one bit, and then you can get away with 2 to 3 coats. Isn't that magic? So I'm gonna do my coats, but, and here's the top tip, I'm only gonna do the final coat flash cured for 10 seconds, and that's because this colour does not have much of a tacky inhibition layer, and that makes it a bit difficult to get the pigment to stick in, and that's why I've got a much better thumb than the other fingers. The other fingers are a little bit less pigmented than these ones are going to be. So they're all cured up. I actually used 3 coats on me, but that's because I get visible nail line. And like I said, I only did the final coat for 10 seconds flash cured. And then once I've got my pigment on, I'll give them the other 20 seconds. So I've just got a good load on my brush of the pigment. I want it to like kind of go like about kind of halfway up my nail. But when I'm fading pigment, I use the Jovi method. And yes, this is a real method, honest. Where I want the pigment to like start to fade in, what I do is I take my application halfway there. Haha, now you get it, don't you? So yeah, it's living on a prayer, innit? Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, ombre fade on there. So basically I've patted that on to halfway where I want it to be. I'm going to load up a little bit more just to get a good kind of opacity. And this is kind of hard to do that way around. At the risk of getting it all over my hand, I'm going to turn over so you can see here. It's all right, I can just I can go off camera and wash up shortly. So there we go. I've got it halfway to where I want it eventually to be. And then I tap off my excess. That's what I'm doing there, where it's all like fuzzy because it won't focus. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a clean brush and I'm just going to kind of fade it up a little bit, just the excess that's already on there. Kind of like dab on there a little bit, and then if it's not quite enough, oh, danger, danger, then you can dab on a little bit more. And you basically just do this, dusting your excess like up the nail until you've pretty much got the effect that you want with your fade. And don't get too hung up on it as well, because remember, we're going to have stuff over this fade that's going to kind of mask any harsh lines anyway. So I'm just going to go off camera and finish the rest, and then float over my top coat, and then we'll come back for the fun. So I've pigmented all my fingers, floated my top coat very carefully, and then checked the brush before I put it back in the bottle to make sure there's no loose pigment on there to knacker my top coat. And what I've done is I've just buffed the surface with my gel bottle ink buffer. It's an old one that I've had for quite a while, so it's very, very soft on this side. If you were doing this at home, I would recommend not a white block, but actually just a regular kind of nail buffer on the roughest part. Now we're ready to do the water marbling. And I should say that it's super important. It's a bit like when you're making meringues. You have to have a really clean bowl, otherwise it won't spread out. If you're doing like several fingers and like several dips, you really need to like wash this out in between. Also, it helps, I have found, to have cold and really clean water. The day that I did this, and I had no problems whatsoever, but this is like not the first time that I've tried to do this. And I figured out that the different thing when I was trying to do this hand to this hand was that it was colder yesterday when I did this hand than it was today. And so what I did was I took this water from my filter, like my water filter jug in the fridge, and then had no problems whatsoever. So I'm just going to be doing my rock fingers in this kind of technique just to demonstrate, like I did on this hand, and then the others are going to be stamped to show you that you can get the same kind of look with much less mess. So I've got on those just some liquid latex. I'm just taking my stamping polish. So let's get a decent amount of polish in here. Make sure that it spreads out nicely before I take my hairspray and just give it a little spray like that. Then I get my rock fingers, and I think I'll pick this bit here where we've got some nice kind of like holes and lacy patterns going on, and yeah, I think there will be good. So just dip my fingers in, and then with an orange stick, as you can see, this is not the first time I've tried this, because it has been very contrary, let's say, and I think I've just managed to get a big blob of unwanted on my pinky just there. Oh, actually, we're not so bad. That's not bad at all. It's just a little blobby on that side, and I think that I can probably rescue that off camera. And now all I need to do is basically wait until the nails are dry. So this pinky is now dry, and I can just peel away my liquid latex. Ah, there we go. Off it comes. And then that's it. It's like minimal cleanup unless you've like kind of gone over the edges. So finally, with the two hairspray marbled nails safely snuggled under the matte top coat, I can get on to the most reliable part, which is the stamping. I love the randomness of the hairspray marbling, but it's, especially in a salon environment, it's just not kind of like reliable enough to like kind of do on a regular basis. Or maybe if I did it like day in day out all the time, I would like totally get used to all of the little foibles and work out a science for it. And if I ever do work out a science for it, I will tell you. But for me, I can get the same effect with much less mess and much less hassle with this wonderful stamping plate. And this one is actually a Moira plate, and it's the first one that I've gotten, and it's called Dreamology. And I'm using my wonderful XL Bling Bling stamper from Clear Jelly Stamper, and they very kindly sent me this. So yeah, it's a little bit like ironic that I'm using it on a Moira plate, huh? But look at that, how nice is that stamper? And it doesn't refract the image half as much. You can see that it's a really nice clear stamper, and the image pickup is really good. And then when you're putting it on the nail, the visibility is just excellent. And yeah, so ironic that I'm actually using it with a different manufacturer's plate. But keep your eyes on my channel, because I got a whole bunch of Clear Jelly Stamper plates, and I ordered them direct from Canada actually, because a lot of what I wanted, Chrissy Pierce just didn't have in stock, and she's their UK distributor. And wow, this is so bright that my camera won't even focus on it. All I'm doing is I'm doing the usual thing of like breaking the seal. I actually got free shipping because they do like free international shipping on orders of $150 US or more. And yes, they trade in US dollars even though they're a Canadian company. But yeah, I highly recommend checking them out. So next up, I'm just going for this image here, because I want to kind of like keep it a little bit random. And this one is going to go on my middle finger. and I'm just trying to figure out what's the best orientation for it to be in. Actually, I quite like it about there. There we go. Finally, all I'm going to do is, because I wanted to keep the randomness, which is why I used different images on neighbouring fingers. And on the thumb, I'm going to revert back to this one here, because I think this one is more kind of like, it says to me hairspray marbling more than this pattern here. When I put that on and they're all dry, I'll just make sure I break the seal around the edges, and I'll top coat these with my Miss You matte top coat, best matte top coat in the world. It's stinky and the smell lingers on your fingers for a day or two, but OMG, it is worth it. And here are the finished fingers. We have hairspray marbling to the rock fingers, and then my Moira Dreamology hairspray marbling stamp hack, catchy title, to the rest of the fingers, just to show you how to get like a cool kind of like random look without so much mess and clean up and faffing and all of the stuff that goes along with hairspray marbling. I do love it, but I'll probably keep hairspray marbling for when I'm doing my nails and I can take my time, or when I'm doing my besties, you know, where you can take a bit of extra time. But hairspray marbling is just really not cost effective or practical in a salon, or especially a mobile environment. Anyhow, I hope that you found this video useful, and I'll just keep doing my catwalk poses while I say thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Oh, we're halfway there. Whoa, ombre fade on that. Check my hands, then I naked or bare. Oh, ombre fade on that. Ombre fade on that. Ooh, we got a ombre, ready or not. You live for the fade when that's all that you got. Oh, we're halfway there.